Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode number 164, the week of May 26, 2014. I'm Ryan Higgins, who is here with me this week.
Well, I'm going to say Happy Memorial Day, Brock Sager.
Omar.
Bryce.
Toby.
And Charlie.
It's a full house this week. Welcome back, people that haven't been here for a while, like Omar and Charlie.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Bryce as well.
Oh, yes, and Bryce.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome back, guys.
Can we talk about how good the Savage Wolverine is?
God.
No, I'm just kidding.
Did you read the recent one by Simone?
No, I haven't actually read any of it.
Officially cut Savage Wolverine to 0 copies at the store, as we have lost our last subscriber for the book.
Well, that's
and I
because
sell 0
you
copies.
Only say good things about DC books to people that come in.
So Omar must be burn stealing it from me or buying it from another store. I see how it is.
Well, he can't burn steal it if you don't have any shelf copies, Ryan.
Yeah.
So,
The Simone one's pretty good. And, I mean, the Shane Davis covers are incredible, but of course, we all know how that goes.
Yes, the covers have been better than the issues for a while.
Yes.
let's just say it's number 13 on Bryce's quarterly X books list.
So it's about halfway. So it's right in the middle, right?
I get that that's a joke, but there's actually, I think, only 13.
So we got more than a billion things to talk about this week, so we're going to kind of burn through a few of these pretty quick. We're going to talk X-Men Days of Future Past here in a little bit, but before we do that, there's kind of one big comic news story from this last week. You know, actually, this is a big movie and not comic book news week, but we'll get to a few of these things here. The big one is that Marvel has lost a director and a showrunner for 2 of their upcoming properties. Ant-Man, Edgar Wright stepped down a few days ago. And then shortly after, Drew Goddard, director of Cabin in the Woods and some Joss Whedon stuff. He worked with him on Buffy, I think, right?
An Angel.
Angel. He stepped down as showrunner on Daredevil, one of the Netflix original series, which, as far as I know, is supposed to still be out this year. And if they don't have a showrunner, let alone a main actor, is this actually coming out this year?
Well, he's also working supposedly on Sinister Six, so he may have got taken away.
Okay.
Wait, is that a thing, really?
Yeah, that's what happened. He's
chose
to go Sinister Six.
He's directing Sinister Six, right?
I don't know. I just know that maybe Sony goes like, "You're too busy here. Stop doing TV."
But that's way more money. Why wouldn't you go for that? Like, way more money.
Yeah, more prestigious.
Sony's Spider-Man 3? That'd be incredible.
No, Sinister Six.
Yeah.
Right, but wouldn't that be Spidey 3?
Sinister Six.
Yeah, for the most part.
They're supposedly doing a Sinister Six movie on its own.
I'm getting some weird echo.
Really?
Hopefully, I'm not echoing this entire podcast. If
Supposedly.
I am,
you never know until it actually is out, but supposedly.
People listening to this podcast, if I'm echoing this entire podcast, I apologize. Anyway, this, of course, has led to some articles of the Marvel Universe. It's over. It's done. This is the first break. Come on now. No way. This sucks that they're losing, shifting stuff around. And Edgar Wright, come on, who doesn't want to see Edgar Wright on an Ant-Man movie? But yeah, I don't think this means anything. There are creative differences when you work for Disney and you work for a big company like this. It's going to happen. Anyone care either way?
It happened multiple times before. I mean, we lost, Pharaoh, in Iron Man.
Right.
I don't even know how many times Darren DeRosky is supposed to do a superhero or a comic book property and been attached for like a year and then he drops off. Like, before Batman Begins, he was supposed to do Year One. That didn't happen. He was supposed to do Watchmen. That didn't happen. I don't even want to say he was attached to Wolverine at one point. That didn't happen. I mean,
right. I remember the Wolverine thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how James Gunn talked about it like a relationship. I think he's a writer of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, he's the director of Guardians.
Yeah. But saying like, oh, it's so hard seeing 2 people that you love get in a squabble, and I'm sure they're both going to be moving on to bigger and better things. I thought that was really clever and timely, and I think everybody after watching Days of Future Past is like just drooling over Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm saying that from like a mainstream perspective because now like I have all my friends saying, oh, who is Nebula, and all these other like people are getting hip to these like D-list characters that
No, my favorite thing about Guardians of the Galaxy was I was showing the trailer to one of my coworkers.
Okay.
And he got uber excited that Rocket Raccoon was in the movie because I remember playing him in the Marvel vs. Capcom game.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, too bad, what's it called? Groot wasn't in it. That would have been awesome too.
I'm sure he'll be in the next one now. Well, there's still a billion Marvel movies coming out, so it sucks that they're not involved, and I'm sure they're just going to push the Daredevil movie back, but I don't think it really matters.
No, they already have a replacement too, and it's someone that's in the game, so whatever. The show will go on.
It's one of his co-writers or one of the guys that works with him on all the others. It's like what he was to Josh Whedon is what that dude is to him, so it's another guy next in line.
But do you think this is coming out this year?
I don't know.
That's a lot to shoot a whole season.
If the story is there, I mean, it doesn't take that long. If they have a whole, editing suite and a bunch of people are working on effects, if the story is there, I mean, they could shoot today and be out like in 4 months.
And I'm curious, are we talking about these Netflix shows? Are they like mini shows? Because I don't watch many like Netflix original stuff. Is it like full run, or is it kind of like Assassin's Fist, like Street Fighter Assassin's Fist, where it's on Machinima for only 12 minutes?
No, these are full-fledged
episodes, so it's straight 30 minutes or
an hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
13,
I mean, this is like HBO, just not on HBO.
13 hour-long episodes released one at a time. The Daredevil movie, or Daredevil TV. I keep calling it a movie because they basically said it is a movie. It is one straight.
Don't even bring up Street Fighter Avenging Fist. That shit looks so bad, man.
You serious? You're a hater,
horrible,
bro. I don't
dude.
think so.
Bull crap,
man, that's...
Anyway, think of it
No
like
love
disagree.
for that.
We can disagree.
No love for that at all.
Speaking of Street Fighter, what a fantastic segue into something else we need to talk about this week. Me and Toby went to Fanime up
Did
until
I punch you there?
just literally a few hours ago.
Wait, I don't get the Street Fighter reference. Did I punch
that
you?
was your cyclone
Fanime,
kick.
an anime convention about My Little Ponies and Homestuck and
I do have to say that My Little Brony commercial was the best thing that
Adventure
I saw in
Time
a long time.
and Street Fighter and Batman and Doctor Who and what else did I see? A lot of the Game of Thrones and what else was there at Fanime in a convention for anime?
Lego.
Let me think. I saw Lego. Batman was there. I saw
that was Milton.
You're catching a trend of me. I'm not actually naming any anime. This is always the joke for Fanime cons that they're actually not about, or that anime cons aren't about anime. But once again, big anime con here. Last year they got 25,000 people. I'm assuming they got the same this year, or maybe slightly more, because it's just insane. Same place that we had the Big WoW convention that was last week, where they had maybe 2,500 people. So you could see what a difference this con when you're there. It's like, wow, it's just crazy, crazy. So we went. We've gone a few years now, Toby. We were there. I was there Friday, Saturday night.
Well, this
You
is
came
the
back.
first time in a long time I actually spent more than an hour there.
Yeah. And then you came. No, then I went back today. You went back yesterday for a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your time there? What you
My
saw?
time there? No, I really enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it so much, I actually really wish I could have gone today even. Or the day before, just have more time just sitting around, hanging out. Just people watch, and yeah, I mean, definitely the crowd is still young. That hasn't changed, but, it's a good crowd. They're happy. They like their thing.
What did you like about it? Besides people watching?
I just went toy shopping, which... I kind of like, I said this before, I like going to smaller conventions where I don't have an agenda.
Yeah.
Where I'm just browsing through the booths and checking things out and going, okay, that's cool. I haven't seen this before. Because before I was on, I'm a little out of the scene now, right? Before I kind of knew about everything. I would go through the booths and go, I know about all of this. This is in previews, this in that side, this is you got from this website. Now I'm kind of like a little out of the loop going, okay, I didn't know this existed, and that's kind of cool. So, my main purpose was to buy some prop guns for my little flicks, so I got some really nice Berettas. I'm kind of happy about that.
Sweet.
Got my mission achieved. I bought a couple of toys and a couple of prints. Yeah, a really cool X-23 print, so that was cool. I met some new people. There's a really cute girl at Artist Alley. Actually, a couple of them. You would like it, yeah. Lane was there, doing his thing. He's doing donations to Stan Sakai's fun thing. Yeah, so anything he sold, anything he drew, any commissions he did, the money he donated. So that was really nice of him.
Wow.
Yeah. It was cool. Crazy crowd. We went to the karaoke thing for a while.
That was rough.
You were very much missed. They're not professionals like you are. Yeah, they could have learned a thing or two from you. But it was cool. It was fun. Yeah, just hanging out. It was good. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, I used to go a lot when it was kind of first starting out, and I hadn't gone for a while, and I started going back a handful of years ago. And I mean, it's definitely way bigger.
I'm mad. I mean, I wish when I was 15 this existed. I mean, when I was 15, I watched anime. It was called cartoons from other countries, and nobody knew what I was watching.
But see,
this is crazy.
See, we have the war stories, though. We have the stories of I had a
Getting
drive,
on the VCR with the Japanese commercials.
I had to drive to an anime club to get a 10th generation VHS. You know, I had to...
Well, see, you still had people. I had, like, parents or something bring me a tape that they just recorded while they were there, and I'm the only one watching it. I'll try and get...
No, most people didn't. That's what I'm saying. Is it was a struggle to find anyone, even, as early as 93, 94. I think mid 90s it kind of started to change a bit, especially when Cartoon Network really started showing a lot of stuff, and Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff. I think that is when you kind of had a bit of a change. But the late 80s, early 90s, super rough if you're into anime. Very, very rough. But I mean, it's like Comic Cons. We were at, you guys went to Comic-Con when it was 10,000 people, right?
Yeah.
Not
I remember
5,000 people.
I remember driving there, buying a ticket at the place, staying at my friend's place in La Jolla, have enough time to drive back and forth, and maybe spend $200 for the entire weekend, and then go home.
Yeah, I mean, we were there at the
That's
formation.
not possible anymore.
Yeah, we were there at the formation of this stuff, and to me, that's great.
The weekend pass, the entire 4-day pass was like $50.
Yeah, back in the day. I mean, I used to go to WonderCon when it was like $10 a day, or $8 a day, or something stupid. $8 on Sunday. So yeah, I mean, these cons this is what's happened. This is con life now. So be happy you had, those days, because to me it's hard. You'll never see those again. We were rare people in those times. Now you're just one of thousands of people standing around doing nothing. So, but I had a lot of fun. So we went through the dealer room. Yeah, dealer room's the dealer room. It's always what it is. It's it's cool to see the stuff in person. I see all this stuff in previews, so I can always get any of it if I want it when it comes out for way cheaper than these guys charge. But that's the price of con pricing. It's cool. I didn't have t-shirts. It was just kind of, impulse purchase. What's there? Did a few panels. My friend Evan, he was in the Geekbox a few weeks ago, works at Crunchyroll. He did a couple panels there, so I went to one of those about Trigger Studio that does Kill la Kill and a couple other anime worked on Gurren Lagann and some previous stuff back when they were at Gainax. So that was a cool panel. Me and Toby and Leanne and him went to the Anime Hell panel on Saturday night from 10 to 12, which is a popular panel they do at a bunch of conventions throughout the country, mostly East Coast. Super, super funny. Just this 2-hour block of clips, all edited together. Not all anime, in fact, almost no anime. Super random stuff that's not really on YouTube. A lot of kind of stuff that they just find, real weird clips, commercials from Japan and other countries, just bizarre stuff, hilarious stuff. So, I could tell a few of the people there, obviously.
The USB lighter was the best.
That was really funny. That was a really bizarre ad. Yeah, there's weird stuff. You could tell a lot of the people there knew. There were portions where everyone in the room knew it, and we're all looking at each other going, obviously, we're the odd ones out now because we don't know what this is. But everyone else did, so yeah, that's cool. But that was really fun. And then, just back today for a few hours, just, hanging out in the dealer room.
Are you still able to watch many of the screenings?
We went just into some of the rooms to just kind of hang out and just see what was there. They have their big marathon room with around 24 hours a day. We went and watched. I watched almost all of Vampire Hunter D, which I haven't seen that movie in 15 years probably.
But isn't it dope though, just to go in a room with people that love that shit and see it with some decent sound, but with a bunch of people?
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to see it actually on the big screen. Well, what's funny is this crowd, I joke about it being all a bunch of 13-year-olds, but it really actually wasn't this year. And I kind of last year remember being not exactly all
so last year they're 13, kids. This year they're 14.
But that's exactly what happened. No, 10 years ago they were 13. That's what happened because that's when the huge manga boom. That's when there's
a lot of mid-20 people.
There is
now,
right. So the kids that were 13 when this was started, when it got huge in 02, 03, are now 23. Right, and so there's a lot of mid-20s. You know, the smaller kids, the younger kids, the teenagers. There were not nearly as many this year. So it is kind of like comic conventions, sort of aging. They've got 25 years younger than the average age at a lot of these comic cons, except for the big ones. But yeah, it's an interesting crowd, and I'm curious to see what it looks like in the next few years because I'm not sure what. That tween group and 10-year-old and 12-year-olds, if they're into anime at all. I think it's all video games. I'm not sure if they're...
There's a lot of video game influence there, yeah.
But I mean, like, what are those kids doing? Because a lot of them got, that 2001, 2, 3, that was a huge manga and anime boom. But the kids now, I wonder if they're just doing... it's all Minecraft or something. So
Minecraft's pretty big. I mean, I know.
Oh, Minecraft is huge.
I know at the high school I work at, the librarian hasn't really been stocking, manga or anything associated with anime, just because the kind of population or the
also doesn't help that a lot of new stuff is crap.
Well, and some of the stuff, it's like I know they've been having difficulties. Like stuff's been going out of print and. It's been harder to get some of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of license rescues where books had been out of print or the company never finished them, or when the company went out of business, the license went away. There's been a lot of that recently, but this is always going to be.
Come on, Viz, pick up City Hunter. Last one I need in English.
Viz just gets everything at this point.
Last one. I got my Slam Dunk, I got my Saint Seiya, I got my Dragon Ball covered.
Just gonna have to get your fan subs.
I just need my City Hunter. That's it.
So yeah, there's cool.
Maybe some Fist of the North Star.
Nice. Fist of the North Star just got reissued on VHS. Jesus Christ, on DVD.
You are back
the entire
in the
series.
Days,
Yeah.
Feeling nostalgic.
DVD or Blu-ray?
Yeah, I think it's
Beta?
DVD.
Okay, so we started this with Street Fighter talk.
Uh-huh.
I would figure you'd be a fan of that kind of work. It's almost like independent. We're talking about Street Fighter, Assassin's Fist.
Looks like
really
horse shit.
You just think visually
when they got announced that they were making that, I was like, "This is bullshit." It was complete bullshit.
How many episodes did you watch? There's 12 episodes.
I watched the teaser and I was like, "Fuck this shit."
Are you kidding me? You didn't watch enough of it
Fuck that
then.
shit, dude.
Dude, I was impressed.
I watched the original short and then I saw the teaser. I'm like, no,
there's 12 episodes out.
No.
They're 12 minutes each. And it's fucking awesome.
And they took 10 years to put that stuff together.
You know what? It's out there, and we finally got a decent Street Fighter adaptation that's out there versus Chun-Li. What is it? Whatever Chun-Li movie or the Guile movie.
Those are unspeakable too.
Yeah.
Wait, so you didn't give it a single episode?
No.
Wow.
No.
I thought it was. Did you have any?
No.
I mean, Geekbox stuff. You guys should be into that.
I don't even know
right?
what this is.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So the guy that made Mortal Kombat Rebirth and got a web series out of that.
How was that?
The first season was honestly the best thing is still that first
The
thing he
trailer?
did. No, the first short film he did,
Oh, okay.
Rebirth. The show itself had some good ideas, but it was some of it kind of started lacking towards the end. And season 2 had some nice ideas again, and it was a little better. And it is what it is. It's a web show with a limited budget, right?
Right.
And then, so on the other side, Capcom decided to give these two guys from, I don't even know where they are. They're from Europe or something? They're French? I think they're French. I could be totally wrong, but I think they're from Europe.
Yeah.
They basically did the same thing. They did a short, and they go, well, you guys can do a web series officially for us, and they went and worked on that.
But they originally did this kind of little teaser, fan film, and suppose they got shitload of hits, and then didn't they go to Kickstarter? And then from there, they got crowdsourcing through, and they eventually partnered with Capcom.
I know they got official, though, because I was at the Street Fighter panel when they officially announced it, that it's official, that they're officially doing on Capcom, a full series, and all of that stuff.
I would highly recommend it, especially, from the standpoint of, video games, from the 80s generation that grew up on Street Fighter. It's impressive, I think. You got to check it out. It's really the origins of Ken, Ryu, and their master Gokuin, and the creation of Akuma or Goki, whatever. So it's good shit. Highly recommend it.
Cool. Yeah, I think. I'm going to keep going back to Fanime. I like it every year. It's fun. It's a distraction. It's something to do. It's different than my normal American comic book stuff. So. I
liked it a lot this year. I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, with the new convention center being bigger too, it felt.
Well, also like that Artist Alley wasn't in the tent. Was that? Did they change that last year? Where was it last year? Was it in the tent? See, I don't like artist alley
terrible.
intent. Yeah. Now the only thing they got to change is put the panels actually in the convention center.
Yeah, for some reason they moved all the paneling to the Fairmont, which is like 2 blocks away from the convention center. But there was still a lot of people there, so
There's a shit ton of people there, man.
people went.
A lot of happy people.
People went, so maybe it'll work. And if they want to move the convention to take up another hotel, that might work as well. The convention center and 2 hotels
Turn into a San Jose Comic Con for anime.
Yeah.
Did you get some free hugs?
No.
You know what? That type of stuff, totally gone.
Really?
The last handful of years, like I said, I think it's just because it's an aging crowd and they're not all 13 anymore. That free hug shit, people running down the hall screaming, a bunch of terrible BO.
There's still a lot of screaming, though. There's still a lot of screaming. I'm like, why?
Nowhere.
I feel like an old fart. I'm like, why are these hawkers all yelling at each other all the time? And
nowhere
screaming?
near as bad as when I first started going back.
I think
like
that was
5,
when
6
I was
years
only
ago.
going for an hour and going, I had enough of this.
Ryan, it's good to see you've grown up.
Yeah. So these guys have too. I mean, there was maybe only one time where I was like, "Oh God, dude, take a fucking shower." Like, really, Comic Cons used to be terrible, and they slowly got better throughout time. Fanime, there was nothing. It was fine.
It was because Comic Con and consumer.
Well, I think you just have more people. You have a better crowd of people. You have slightly older people with hopefully some level of, a lot of the guys have split off from Comic Cons and. It's a much more casual crowd. So there may be the one guy there still, but it's not one guy to 200. It's one guy to 250,000. So it's not as bad.
I will say thank you to Danny, who I bought the guns from. Because he gave me like a bunch of pastries for the hell of it after. He was selling a bunch of pastries and cookies and
I know why I didn't see your guns, because they were on one of the side aisles. I must have walked right past it.
He made me a deal on the second one. I was pretty happy about that. And then, I didn't want anything. He's just like, here, have some bread. I'm like, all right. And it was actually pretty good shit. I was like, I ate it later at home. I was like, man, this is some good stuff.
Nice. I'm gluten intolerant, you asshole. You didn't say that?
No.
And if you want to hear more about Fanime, listen to the Geek Box, which should be up on hopefully Wednesday. Evan Minto, who was on a few weeks ago from Crunchyroll, is going to be back on this week to talk with me and Ryan Scott. Well, probably not Ryan Scott, but with myself. And hopefully other people to talk more about Fanime. Ryan Scott will sit there crossing his arms being like, anime stupid. Because he doesn't like anime.
Huh.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah. I forgot we had actually one other before we get to spoiler stuff in Charlie's movie box book club pick of the movie box, which you can listen to.
Obsessed with movies today.
Movie box, which you can listen to on the All Talk podcast. Not the movie box, which is our book club pick of the month, which is what Charlie's Justice, the Alex Ross book from DC. We'll talk about that in a few. But before then, I forgot we had another movie thing to talk about. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Whoa.
Summer 2016.
Whoa.
Yeah. Because Warner Brothers
official
knows that they cannot put their money on a Man of Steel sequel. They have to have Batman be the first word so that people actually see it.
Make that money.
And the fact that we're going to get...
I agree.
The fact that we're going to get a gray and black, costumed Batman is fucking phenomenal. I like
that logo. I like that logo. It looks different than the logo they showed.
Batman, he's so sad.
Yeah,
previously.
That's the best. That's been really fun memes.
He works out a lot, but he's so sad.
Well, we had a question here from let me see who someone asked me here. I got a list here. This is from Peter on Twitter, who asks, "I'm coming up with a better title than Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice that isn't World's Finest." So I give up because World's Finest is the only title it should have.
Yeah, I agree. The title that they have is terrible, and that it should be World's Finest.
Yes,
and
okay. Well, let's actually come up with a title that isn't World's Finest. I mean, even the Batman v Superman thing,
they couldn't afford to put another
Lois Lane and Catwoman.
How about Brothers from Another Mother?
Dang.
What do you think?
That'd be a
I think that would confuse a lot of people.
You gotta have a completely different crowd going into that movie. Go, what the hell happened?
It should just be called Batman versus Superman. Then at that point, the Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Get rid of all that nonsense. Batman versus Superman.
Oh, you know what actually sells a lot of tickets is if it were Batman v Superman. this movie was made by Marvel Studios.
That would fucking sell like crazy.
Featuring Groot and Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
I mean,
And Tony Stark and by Joss Whedon.
the fact that we just have the realization of Warner Brothers like dream when they had, what was that Will Smith movie?
Wild West?
When he fought not Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
That was a good one though.
A giant spider.
No, when he was like fighting vampire Draculas. What was that movie called again?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What's that called
Will
again?
Smith?
Will
Yeah.
Smith back in the day. Anyways, and then they
Blade
showed.
with Wesley Snipes?
No. It's better. I Am Legend. Yes, thank you so much, Brock,
Those
for having a
were
great memory.
vampires?
Yeah, and the fact that they had
Oh, no. It was only zombies, dude.
whatever.
Yeah.
It was zombie vampires, whatever.
No, they were
Batman.
zombies. I
They
was-
look like
Exactly.
vampires. Their eyes looked like they were thinking.
Their eyes looked like they were thinking.
Yeah, about their blood, sucking your blood.
One of
so
these
that
days
they
I wanna
had
see the movies through
in
your
one
eyes.
of the buildings a big banner for Batman, Superman, and the fact that that is the logo treatment alone, and that's the logo. That's the only thing that matters. Fuck Batman versus Superman. Fuck Dawn of Justice. Is the fact that we got those two logos together and a movie about it to have them fight. Even though it's going to be fighting just for like 5 minutes, whatever.
So many people I know are like, man, I'm not going to watch this movie. Man of Steel was bad. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck off. Of course you're all going to see this. It's Batman versus Superman in a movie together with Wonder Woman. Every single one of you is going to be there opening weekend. Shut up. You're not going to not go. You know you're. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to the people in the audience that are like, I don't know. Man of Steel wasn't a good movie. Well, I guess I am actually talking.
I'm waiting for
Actually-
the guy on Wednesday to come in and just punch his Ryan in the face.
Actually, I'm talking to half the people at this table.
Your impersonation is awful, notwithstanding.
You have a-
it's my Ryan Scott impersonation.
Not seeing it opening weekend. And by the way, I know that you guys like who they cast as Wonder Woman, but I mean, this is I don't want to be too negative because I've been too
David
negative in the
Goyer
past.
called you a virgin. Man, I'm not going to go see this movie now.
Dude, did you guys hear about that shit in Santa Barbara?
Yeah, that's horrible.
Dude, that's fucking crazy.
R.I.P.
Yeah, not that
Savage
version. I meant
Ryan.
I meant
Ryan's so insensitive.
I meant the previous.
And he likes Man of Steel.
the previous week when David Goyer got in trouble for making fun of people. So there you
Oh,
go.
I didn't know that's what you were going for. Anyway, I hope that this movie makes a lot of money. I hope that it's really good. I don't like who they cast
Me
for
too.
Batman. I don't like who they cast for Wonder Woman.
And you'll
but
be there opening weekend with all of us.
Of course.
Well,
Come on,
we'll
if it's
see.
a free movie, of course you're going to watch it with us.
Yeah. I had to backpedal if it's going to be a free movie. But look, I do actually honestly hope that it's a good movie because
Yeah, me
you know
too.
I loved the Batman movies. Did not at all like Man of Steel, but I hope that this movie turns it around, and I think that it has the capacity to now that he's actually Clark Kent when he wasn't before, really in terms of Daily Planet status. But I hope that it's good.
I'm going to watch it for Punk Lex. I mean, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Oh, I forgot about.
I'm gonna
that.
say
That's
emo punk
awful.
Lex.
That's terrible.
Why?
This is with Facebook boy being all tatted up, right?
Yeah.
Oh god, this is gonna be the worst.
It would have been better if he had a gold outfit, just a straight gold.
I'm just so curious. They couldn't put an S in the title. It has to be V.
Yeah, that's I mean, whatever.
And if they're going to do that, they should just do Hope versus Fear at this point.
That's exactly the shit I'm talking about. I don't like Man of Steel. He's Hope Man. I'm Brock.
Hold on. That's me punching you in the face.
Yeah, get him.
No, it's
Hope Man.
again.
He is Hope Man.
Yeah.
It's not an S. It's Hope. Terrible.
Yeah.
But if it was Hope Man,
Do
it
you
would
guys
be,
ever just get
Batman
so
logo, this means I'm gonna
tired?
kick your ass.
Tired.
We didn't bring it up, Ryan. You actually did.
Tired of it being like
you know,
this.
we
No, but
we,
you
we,
actually brought
we
it up.
give it up. You're the one that goes, "Brr, my name is Ryan Higgins. I'm sick
Yeah.
and tired of you talking." We're just saying we didn't like the movie.
Okay.
can we spend more time
not a
talking about
wink.
other things
That's
like
you.
besides this
More
shit? Let's talk about
positive things.
let's talk about good movies like X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
Oh, dude.
We're gonna have a big spoiler for X-Men: Days of Future Past and Forever Evil #7 after Charlie's book club pick.
I
So
hope,
we can
hope we have time for all this.
So you can just, if you're done, you can cut it off there and come back later for spoiler stuff. So we may end up going. That's why I'm trying to be a little short here. So
Unless you were being a good listener and you actually read the book club pick.
Charlie, Bryce
Oh!
is looking at one person at this table who actually read it. So.
No, we all read it.
So, Charlie, you had your Charlie-sized book club pick of the month.
Yes.
We didn't make everyone go out and buy an Absolute.
Why
I
don't you-
tried, but then
but no.
It's a long series, so
that's 12 issues.
Charlie, why don't you give us a little intro here, and then we'll go around the table.
Okay, a little intro. So I've been a very big fan of Alex Ross for a very long time and absolutely loved everything he did with Kingdom Come. So a number of years later, he did a series of little tiny stories with Paul Dini. And then after he was done with that, he finally did a full-on Justice League epic, and not like future DCU like Kingdom Come, but Justice was we're going back to sort of the classic versions of all the characters, regardless of, like, I don't even remember if Hal was back when this was coming out or if it was still Kyle at the time.
No, Hal was back.
Okay.
Yeah, he was.
Any
It was like 09, I want to say. 08? Hal was back by that point.
I don't know. Any event, like just the general looks of most of the costumes and everything is just all going back to sort of the classics and in a lot of cases sort of the pre-crisis. And I love this kind of shit, basically. This is exactly the kind of thing that's up my alley. I love seeing sort of the classic depictions by Alex Ross. I actually thought the story was very strong, even though it stumbled a little bit when they introduced armor. But no, I am a very, very large fan of this book, and anybody who appreciates really badass art on a good, strong story should definitely read this.
Well, I'll start with kind of my conversation here about it. Charlie, you forgot to mention one thing. You keep saying classic versions of the characters. You should be saying the Super Friends. Because this is 100% a Super Friends comic book. It is the Super Friends with, they throw in Shazam and who else?
I'm sorry, I did not see the Wonder Twins or Apache Chief.
It is absolutely that Super Friends, the challenge of the Super Friends team. Like I said, they add in other people, but the main cast is 100% the challenge of the Super Friends team, including the villains. The villains are the Super Friends villains.
And realistically, when you get into the Legion of Doom and all that, right. I'm in the front row going, yeah, Legion of Doom!
Yeah. So it's a fun series. It's a cool series. And Alex Ross's art is not, to be talked down on. I mean, his art, this is as good as he's probably been. This is the biggest. This must be the longest continuous interior arc he's done, because if Kingdom Come and Marvel, those are oversized, but they were 4 issues. So this would be roughly 8 issues. This is a full 12 issues. So it's good. To me, the story, it's good, but you said it, kind of stumbles when they're introducing the armors and stuff. Maybe part of it is because I just kept thinking Super Friends, maybe that's what's preventing me from liking it as much as you did. It's not bad. It just feels like, it felt a little like, if in here, we've done this. It's cool. It's definitely a darker take on these characters.
Well, the heroes are still light and everything, but the story is very dark as they're basically all systematically taken out or taken over by bad guys at the beginning. And I was actually, when reading this, I was thinking back to a lot of what they said about Final Crisis with what happens when the good guys lose. That's kind of how I feel like at the beginning of this comic, because literally the good guys just like flat out lose, and the bad guys are standing out in the open basically going, we're the heroes now, and the good guys are completely backed into a corner, nowhere to be found, and on the ropes up to like issue 8 or something that's
when they introduced the armor stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the order in which everything happens. I'm trying to think of how to say this. It definitely was not bad in any way, shape, or form. It just this is kind of just I don't want to say it's just another JLA book, but to me, I wish someone else wrote it. That's maybe the only thing I can think of. The writing is not bad. It's Doug. What's his face? Huh?
Braithwaite.
Is that he actually is no, it's the other guy. I'm sorry.
It starts with a K.
Kruger.
Jim Kruger. It's not that it's bad. It's just, imagine if this was
Mark Waid,
Johns or Mark Waid, or the characters just didn't click over.
I will be the first one to admit that I'm a little confused that he didn't partner back with, because this happened after they finished that series of books with Dini.
Right. Or Dini. Exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm really surprised this epic didn't come out of that. That was definitely one of those few things where I'm like, he could have repartnered up with Wade, but if I recall, Wade was already on outs with DC at that point.
Yeah.
But Dini would have been such a obvious choice to partner with him on this.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Good, not great. But I mean, it's definitely big in scope, and Alex Ross's art is good. So I will give it a 7 Charlies out of 10.
And I think you're crazy.
Most people do.
Again, Charlie, I appreciate you picking this because it's actually been on my to-read list for a while. I read Kingdom Come and I really enjoyed it. So I sat down to read this, and it's daunting. I mean, it takes a while to get through this book. I actually started to hear Kevin Conroy's voice for Batman every time I was reading Batman lines, which was awesome. But no, Alex Ross's art really takes the forefront in this. There's some really spectacular, just single pages, splash pages, and even just small panels where the emotion and the feeling of the book really comes across. So, not having watched Super Friends, I don't have any qualms with it being kind of a Super Friends book. It's a very solid Justice League book. Whether or not it's tied into any continuity doesn't matter. It stands alone by itself,
like the Joker.
With regards to the characters, with regards to what happens in the book, and a lot of it. I mean, it's the story as it progresses is a very simple one in a sense, but it comes across very in a very good way, especially with how kind of the dismantling and destruction of the Justice League and how that comes about, and then them on the ropes and stuff and coming back. So again, I think the armor was I think that was the weird part, because they team up with the Metal Men and build suits, and everyone goes into kind of this battle all armored up, and it's at times a little difficult to figure out.
Well, it's Fanime weekend, so they all had to get armor and be super powerful.
Well, there were two things about that, and yes, here's me defending the same part that I said they kind of tripped up on, but still, I'm going to do it anyways. I did like that with the use of the armor, they could do some classic misdirection in terms of make the villain think Green Arrow was still there when he was somewhere else, and they did a good job with that, utilizing the armor to give themselves an advantage. I did like that aspect of it, but yeah, Ryan was dead on, because this particular comic series started selling lots of toys for DC Direct. So, the armor did allow them to push out another couple of series of toys.
Yeah, I think that overall, though, I mean, even though it's not necessarily the best part of the book, it's still justified in how they got to that point within the story. It's just with Ross's art, it's especially in those fight sequences, it's like there's just so much going on that you can spend a lot of time with each page, each panel, just to get kind of a general gist of what's going on. But overall, I mean, Justice is definitely a great read, and if anyone gets a chance to read it, they should, because it's just really, really good. So I would give it the 9 out of 10 Charlies.
Charlie, when did this book come out originally?
I think it's 08.
Oh, wait.
Let's find out.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I just literally remember when the first issue came out with the two covers and having them right next to each other on the shelf. And
yeah.
That was here, though.
This for me was
here, weren't we?
We were at Legend at the time.
Yeah.
You sure?
This was for me a time when I was struggling with not getting back into comics, and when I saw these covers and I saw Alex Ross's name, of course I knew who Alex Ross was. I was at the time picking up still graphic novels and stuff, but not getting back into the monthlies.
2004. 05, but the compilation's 2009.
Okay.
Started in 05?
Wow.
That's what it seemed to indicate.
Yeah, I think it was more like, for me, then when I
definitely
saw
legendary.
these, it was like maybe 06, 07. But, I didn't jump in fully until like maybe, it was 07. But I would spend a lot of time at Barnes & Nobles and get a coffee, like after work and try to, wait out traffic before, going to happy hour or whatever.
August 05? No. Here's what happened. August 05 to June 07, it was bi-monthly, remember? There was there was big delays.
Okay, that's why I remember it being 07 for me. This was a book that I didn't jump into. I really appreciated the artwork because I love Alex Ross. Anybody you show them Alex Ross work, they kind of know who that person is. They maybe don't know the name, but they know that's someone that's big in comics. And it's very similar to like Jim Lee on that level. Just one of the most iconic artists of our time. Painted masterpieces on every damn fucking page. I mean, that's really what this book is. That's what it's about. You can take away all the script, and you can just go through and see the art and the storytelling. Because like how now we get from like Newsarama or CBR, we get the releases of some of the art previews, but without the words and whatnot. Yeah. This is a book that will still sell probably as much, well, not as much, but as successfully because it is an Alex Ross painting from page to page. How many pages? I'm looking at Absolute right now, so this is like something that not a lot of people own.
It's over 300 pages.
Yeah, it's just a masterpiece. I agree that the storytelling is kind of, I don't want to say blasé, but it's predictable, and it's something that the way the villains take away. We've seen comics we've seen cartoons like that have that same kind of story. Lex is always behind everything. I love the fact that Joker is not invited because he's cray.
But that's the fun of he gets to just invite himself that
yes,
way.
Exactly. He becomes a part of the party either way. Joker will be there to party because that's what he does. I don't want to go too much into it. Everybody knows Alex Ross. Like I said, is Alex Ross. I mean, how much are his prints going for? I mean, just a print. Like, there's like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? I mean, you say available at a price... it says... Whenever it says price, you have, like, the average artist, say, who? What artist? Campbell. It says a price on a print. For Cliff Chang, it says a print. And then for Alex Ross, it says, please inquire. I mean, that pretty much tells you the level of...
Firstborn. Or...
yeah.
Just to put a fine point on it, when you go to various comic conventions like Comic-Con, there's only one artist that takes up like 4 tables with the big banner ad in the center. And Alex Ross is kind
Alex
of insane.
motherfucking Ross. It's another level. And there's no way that you can possibly rank less than 8 Charlies, which I'm ranking. 8 Charlies. Only because, for me, the story was there. I didn't see a lot of titties hanging out and everything. If it was Frazetta, I would give it 10. But
sorry, Power Girl wasn't in this.
I don't need Power. We have enough women in this shit. I mean, we got all I need is Zatanna. Come on, Zatanna's like, how many Zatannas did you see at Fanime? I saw at least 5 during the pictures.
Oh, there was a couple there. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So, boom, Charlie. Thanks for the pick. Perfectly timing with the end of Forever Evil, by the way, because all the same cast and characters.
So my favorite thing about comics since day one of collecting comics has been the idea of like a big superhero war against the supervillains. So like my favorite stories are, when the Avengers fight the Masters of Evil, or more pertinently when the X-Men fight the Brotherhood of Mutants. So I love the idea of just a big superhero team battle against a team, X-Force versus the Mutant Liberation Front.
Yes.
So I love the idea, and being in Super Friends or not didn't bother me. I didn't pick up on that at all. I mean, you had the Metal Men, you had Shazam, you had Red Tornado, you had Firestorm. These people weren't Super Friends.
Elongated Man.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And
the nice little discussion between Plastic Man and Elongated Man. Who should be in the Justice League?
yeah, exactly. Correct me if I'm wrong, neither one were in Super Friends. I don't remember Super Friends that well.
Plastic Man.
I don't know. It went on a long time, so their cast rotated a lot. Like, I think Firestorm was in it at one point.
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay, it doesn't matter.
Him and Cyborg were in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, really? All right. Well, so anyway, I don't know, but I love team stories versus another team. It takes a type of writer to do it. I do agree with the general sentiment that the writing would, I mean, could it have been stronger? I guess it could have been stronger, but it would have involved such a niche story. I like the sort of, you can just sort of sit back and just appreciate and understand that it's going to be a team versus a team, and just sit back and enjoy Alex Ross. Like I don't need some crazy.
They didn't need to label the book Justice League versus Legion of Doom.
Yeah. Well,
Can I also interrupt? I'm so sorry. Probably still my favorite Batcave ever. Still.
Yeah, that
better than Jim Lee's easily.
That splash page of the Batcave was awesome,
dude. He's such an incredible artist, and that doesn't even need to be said. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy, and so again, it doesn't matter what the story is almost, because it's big super team versus evil super team, over 12 issues. It didn't matter to me that it came out bi-monthly. You're always waiting for it, and it's worth the wait every single time. And so, I don't know, it had the grand scope. I mean, it was like, Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire, which is much less read probably than this, I don't know, but, any arc that takes 12 issues to rise and fall is such a worthwhile read, especially if you love all the characters, and the art is incredible. Storytelling, I thought was good, but it almost didn't need it. I hated Toyman being sort of at the end of it, but loved the Joker stuff. Loved how they just went above and beyond the what is it? Super Evil Legion of Doom. Sorry. Anyway, I loved it. I would give it 8.5 to 9 Charlies, because he could have done something crazier like John style with the writing, but I kind of feel that would have complicated the story more. Like, this was sort of a great, high level. He goes and pitches it to DC. Look, Super Friends versus Legion of Doom by Alex Ross, 12 issues. Like, are you kidding? That's every fanboy's dream. So it doesn't even matter what the story is.
No, I agree with that.
So I loved it. I can never get enough Alex Ross art. So it was great that he was able to sit down and it wasn't even, I don't know if you guys remember, but it wasn't even delayed. Like, how long did it take David Finch to do Forever Evil 7? Like, come on, bro. So anyway,
can I say one more thing that I didn't include? Please. Alex Ross makes me want to have a cleft chin.
Oh yeah, so you look like every one of his male characters.
Yes, I feel like I'm not manly enough because I don't have a cleft chin.
So yeah, I agree with that. I wish I had more of a I kind of have a semi-cleft chin.
Even Wonder Woman has one.
The art was just incredible. The story was solid, not amazing, but it doesn't matter. I loved it. 8.5 or 9 Charlies. I would probably go with 9 Charlies.
Toby,
well,
waiting for next week for you?
I'm the super lame one that hasn't read it yet. I tried to read it before this podcast, and I thought I had a couple hours and I had to stay at work longer, then only had an hour. Then I realized Ryan texted me he didn't have it in the store anymore. He sold the last copy, so I'm like, damn it, I have to call Charlie. So I went to Charlie's, I picked him up, we came here. I started reading it. I'm like, I still got plenty of time and could probably make it halfway. Before I knew it, I was only one issue in, and I was like, that took a long time because I was looking at the art half the time.
That's about as much time you need.
Yeah, I was just like, seriously, I mean, I spent a good 10 minutes just in the first 2-3 pages, right? And then you go from there. So I was like, shit, this is not going to happen. So I got one issue, and it's, the art just kind of draws you in, and I'm a kind of, more art kind of person anyway, so I just had to stare every page. So I'm one issue in so far. I like it. That's it.
Report back next week.
Yeah, sure.
Charlie, you want to give us your wrap up?
So my wrap up on this is, so as Bryce said, yes, Legion of Doom versus Justice League completely and totally sold me on anything beyond this book. Like, the story could have been the most basic story ever with the Alex Ross art, and my rating wouldn't be much lower just because you get those classic sort of fight scenes and stuff. And there were a lot of scenes in this book. Like, I love that opening scene where Superman's at the mercy of, let's see, it was like Parasite and Metallo and Bizarro are all ganging up on him. And,
did you say Metallo?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And it was just one of those things where, as the stuff gets worse and you kind of realize exactly how compromised the Justice League is. I kind of thought that was sort of a fantastic opening because it was sort of like this systematic 1-2 punch.
Sure.
At the same time with the supervillains popping up and creating lakes where in deserts and causing trees to grow in infertile land and pretty much going out to the world and saying, look, when we're not dealing with the so-called heroes, we can fix the planet for you.
Yeah.
And where are your heroes? I mean, they're not here saying they could have done this all along. And I thought that was a very, very Lex Luthor 1-2 punch to basically make it not only remove them from the game, but make it where people don't even want them to come back to a point.
And where did this fall with respect to Rock of Ages? This was a couple years later, right?
There are a lot of stuff in this book, like taking the Batman computer files is directly out of like Tower of Babel.
Right.
And,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Am I thinking Tower of Babel? I'm sorry, Ryan.
Yeah.
Don't hang me up. I missed the Morrison run, but I know that there was that whole story about fucking, was it Ross taking over the Batman files that he had. I loved also. I'm sorry to interrupt. The systematic takedown. They just did it so smartly. That was great writing. I thought.
And I like the fact that when you got into there and just there were so many callbacks to certain things. Like every time I saw Supergirl's costume, it took me right back to Crisis. When Flash was running around the world over and over and he was looking like he was becoming a shadow of a man almost, again, was going right back to Crisis as it looked like his flesh was starting to hang off the bone.
Yeah, that was not a coincidence. I mean, Alex Ross was a part of that, obviously. So.
I know. I just there were so many things there that just take me right back to key things from other comics. And while I'll be the first one to admit the way some of the storytelling in some of those other comics unfolded better, I think this comic did a very good job of incorporating a lot of different elements in like that. I've been kind of struggling with how I wanted to rate this book because the easiest thing for me to do is hold it up against Kingdom Come. And Kingdom Come was so phenomenal that it's like, I almost feel like Kingdom Come needs its own rating system because it's going to make everything else seem worse than it is. So I give it 9 Charlies. Primarily because I do feel there were a couple of times where it stumbled a little bit, but overall, I thought it was fantastic.
In what world am I the low score on this book? That's bizarre.
Because it wasn't written by Morrison? Duh.
Or Jeff Johns.
Touche.
No, I
Can we
mean,
please talk about Days of Future Past now? Because, come on, man, we're running out of time.
Yeah,
That was Ryan's little master plan.
he
Admits it.
I mean, we're gonna run way over, so we're gonna bump Forever Evil talk to next week.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. That makes a lot of sense.
Can we do, because I can't promise I'll be able to do it. Can we do a lightning round of Forever Evil?
Sure,
I can actually talk for less than 10 minutes about it.
We'll push a bigger thing back till next week about Forever Evil because there's a lot to talk about Forever Evil. But before I get to, so thank you, Charlie. Thank you for your pick.
Thank you, Charlie.
Everyone listening got a
That was
chance
great
to read
pick,
it.
Charlie.
Awesome pick.
Before I give you,
are we ready for Morrison?
So
and
not
Johns?
predictable.
Before I give you my pick, I actually have a tweet here from Mitchell.
Hey, Mitch, what's up?
Brock's friend, who asked a very timely question based on my pick of what it is going to be.
Oh,
His question this week is, what Constantine comics should I read before the TV show? What a very apropos question for a week where I am picking Hellblazer Volume 1 Original Sins as my comic book pick of the month club. This is the graphic novel, which these are more recent collections.
Yeah,
where
they've
gone
been redoing them. Them.
They actually have numbered Hellblazer from number 1 and on. This is actually a bit of a bigger volume. I'm not gonna like Charlie's where it is one book. This actually, if I'm not mistaken, actually is 2 different story arcs. So you may be able to, or it's actually 3 if I'm not mistaken. I think you can kind of cut this out if you don't want to read the whole thing. But it collects Swamp Thing 76 and 77, which is his first 2 appearances, as well as Hellblazer 1 through 9. So I'll double check on that. This is the Jimmy Delano stuff. This is the real early Hellblazer stuff on the early Swamp Things.
Yeah, when they redid these starting last year before?
No, a couple years ago.
I
they're-
actually picked this up recently, and I've been reading through them. So
Yeah, they're up to
6, 5.
7, I think, just came out. Up to issue. They're getting close to issue 100, so there's a lot of this coming. So since that Constantine show is coming up pretty soon, I figured what a good way to introduce people to John Constantine. And from what I understand, the pilot is loosely based on the first story arc. So there you go. So we'll talk about that more next week. We're going to talk about Days of Future Past here. We'll do a quick lightning round here for Forever Evil.
Oh, yes.
Bryce, if you want to give a minute here. But so I'm just going to give the credits here so we can, if you want to cut out the spoiler talk, you can skip right through this. You can listen to this and all our previous episodes at geekbox.net and comicsconspiracy.biz. You can discuss this episode and all our previous episodes on forums at geekbox.net and the Geekbox Facebook group. Go buy our digital comics at digital.comicsconspiracy.biz.
Did you actually type this up?
I typed all this out so I don't forget. We all have other random things we do. Brock's got conspiratorBrock.com where he posts all his stuff on there, videos and his pull list and everything. Omar's got Comics and Kind, and Toby, comicsandkind.com. And Toby just knocked like 40 books off her shelf.
Oh, it's like 3.
And Charlie's got the Infinite Longbox podcast and the Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast, his Doctor Who podcast where they're doing every episode in chronological order. So go listen to those. We're all on Twitter. I'm Ryan Higgins. Ryan. Brock is Brock Sager. Omar is Comics and Kind. Bryce Larsen is Larsen Bryce. Toby is Toby XI. And Charlie is Insanity in Chaos. And if this is your stop, you can stop listening to the podcast now. Otherwise, continue listening to this podcast where we'll discuss very little bit about Forever Evil number 7, but then Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Good question, Mitchell.
And have a good day. And now we're still listening to this podcast. So
Yes,
you guys
we
can
are.
continue talking about.
Welcome back.
No, we have to talk Days of Future Past.
Eat us shy.
Go, Toby. Go do whatever you're doing, Toby. You got plenty of time. We'll come back.
Forever Evil Lightning Round.
Forever Evil Lightning Round. Bryce, it seemed like you got a couple things you wanted to say, as well as knocking comics on the ground. So
Just one.
if
Like
you're
a
buying
James Forever Evil 7.
if you're buying comic books from Comic Conspiracy, more than likely they're going to be damaged. So
Hey, but they're
no,
damaged by popular people. Those are worth money.
maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
and I dropped them in such a way that they actually increase in value. Okay, I'll try to make this very quick. Look, so for those people listening that weren't on the pre-show, which is only the 6 of us, but Dave Finch, I think, shit the bed on this.
I agree.
I did not like his art. I mean, look at the cover alone. Like, the cover is what he probably spends a disproportionate amount of time on. I say probably. Of course, he spends a disproportionate amount of time on. Black Adam looks like something out of John Romita Jr.'s Nightmare. I mean, Owlman's looks like he's got a club hand when he's punching. I don't even know who this person is, although I'm sure you guys do. The black and white Shadow Lass chick.
Shadow Thief.
You're right.
Whatever.
Shadow Thief.
She
Yeah,
just
Shadow
looks
Thief.
terrible. Anyway, so the art, I think David Finch was like, look, you only had 6 months or something ridiculous to write to draw this, David Finch. That was awful. The story I thought was very good. I don't know why it took so long. I liked the whole Alex Luthor and what they did with that. I'm not sure how much spoilers we're going to be talking about. I like how Sinestro and Black Adam become sort of BFFs. I loved the when Bizarro gives Lex the hug. I hate shoehorning Ted Kord into the story.
This is a lightning round. What the fuck?
This is the Bryce Larsen lightning round.
Motherfucker.
I kind of liked how Lex Luthor figured out that Batman was Bruce Wayne. I hated Cyborg's whole soliloquy about standing there like a G, like, yeah, I beat the grid. And then there's 7 different times that they ask him how he beat him. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it right now. Talk about it later.
It's because it happens in Justice League.
Right. Anyway, so I'm kind of confused, and maybe you guys can answer this on somebody else's lightning round. I thought that Owlman was the father. Apparently, it's Alex Luthor. I'm not sure if that was appropriately answered, or if she was lying to Owlman, or when Lex squashes Atomic. I think this was. I am sad that it took so long to come out because this was a very well written issue. The art, I think, was totally subpar David Finch.
This is the worst. This is the most lightning ever.
Done.
This is we're in the
slowest
Midwest. This is the Midwest where there's nothing but lightning in the Midwest. Holy shit. On that note, I pass.
No, it
I want to talk about Days of Future Past.
No,
so
it goes clockwise, motherfucker. I'm sorry. I'm done.
God damn.
No. I just figure we'll talk about it more next week, so.
Jeff Johns comic, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, David Finch dropped the ball, but he was. I mean, he
Art's perfectly fine.
I distinctly remember an issue where Captain Cold looked like something was wrong with his face.
Yeah, that's probably every drawing of Captain Cold.
Last page, 11 out of 10.
But I again, John's does a really good job. But I think David Finch's art and his delays were the ones that kind of dropped the ball here. But I mean, it sets up a great kind of premise for where the Justice League is going to go from here. So I'm curious to see where they go with it. And yes, you are right. When he stepped on Atomica, that was awesome.
That was awesome. Higgins is totally wrong. The last page, again, this is spoilers. Anti-Monitor is not Apocalypse. I mean, look at him. Is he not Apocalypse right here? He's got even tubes coming from his hands to his shoulders.
Hey, that's an armored up Apocalypse.
Dude, he doesn't even look like Dude, he looks like Death's Head.
Death's Head
is like the worst character ever.
Death's Head and Apocalypse got together, had a love child, and it is the last page that Ryan gives 11 out of 10. It's crazy. It's crazy. Not impressive. It's not. Look, it's not bad. It's just like, oh my god, this is what we waited 7 months for.
Okay, let's talk about
we
Sorry. Okay, go.